How's it going, guys? My name is Graham. Welcome to Two Left Thumbs. Today I want to talk about the lead up to, announcement, and fallout of Blizzard's new Diablo Immortal. Pretty hot button issue right now. I'm personally not very happy with it. I want to talk about it. Larger context for people, once a year Blizzard Entertainment has a convention all about their own games called Blizzcon. An event focused on everything Blizzard. There's tournaments, panels, shows, often some pretty big announcements with new games. Maybe they talk about a new WoW or Hearthstone expansion, and very occasionally talk about much bigger game announcements. If you look at the schedule for BlizzCon this year, they color-coded things, broke it up by IP, so Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo, so on. It was pretty noteworthy that Blizzard gave pretty well no time to Diablo whatsoever. There was a small panel titled Diablo What's Next. Having that small of a window dedicated to the IP either meant that they had nothing to show, or they're using it as misdirection for something big. The nothing side being, hey, Diablo is still a thing, we still are working on it. The big side of it being, hey, we secretly have been working on Diablo 4, that's coming right up. Diablo 3 is 6 years old, Reaper of Souls is 5 years, that Rise of the Necromancer is a year and a half, and it was very clearly salvaged from what was meant to be a second expansion. And despite a small team supporting Diablo 3, it's pretty clear that the game has been more or less laid to rest. They're moving on from that one. So it wasn't totally unreasonable that it's been enough time that maybe they were going to start talking about Diablo 4. There were people even pointing out gaps in the schedule, saying the day of, they're going to unveil all these extra panels and stuff to talk about Diablo 4. Now, leading up to BlizzCon, the speculation was just getting totally out of hand. The fans were clawing at anything and everything. They're pointing at the title of a poster saying that that was a leak. There was this D logo they were using for Diablo that had 4 sides, and others showed they've been occasionally using that logo for years. People were starting to dig so deep that they were saying this collector's edition that came with 4 Diablo glasses was somehow indicative of Diablo 4. Now that one was a joke, but it was reaching such a level of absurdity that you couldn't tell what was jokes and what was honest speculation. I won't get into it too deep, but there's other theories that they were going to announce Diablo 4 this year, but pretty late in the game they were looking at what they had to show and decided it just wasn't ready to unveil yet. So about 2 weeks out of BlizzCon, I think Blizzard saw that this was kind of snowballing a little bit too much for their liking, and they very wisely stepped in with a press statement. We know what many of you are hoping for, and we can only say that good things come to those who wait, but evil things often take longer. While we won't be ready to announce all of our projects, we do intend to share some Diablo-related news with you at the show. So they very clearly cleared up that there would be no Diablo 4 at BlizzCon 2018. I think getting ahead of this was a smart idea. If people got too worked up, then anything less than Diablo 4 was going to disappoint. But hey, other Diablo-related news, that could still be cool. So what would be left to talk about instead? The order of likelihood is probably the new Diablo Netflix series that they're making in a similar vein to that Castlevania. That could be pretty cool. High up on people's wish list, but less likely, was a Diablo 2 remaster. Blizzard has an entire remaster team right now that has tackled StarCraft and Warcraft 3, also announced this year. There's job postings and stuff to suggest that this is something they're working on. It would be great to finally hear about that. There is the distant, far-off, crazy chance that it was new content for Diablo 3. Maybe it would be something like an extra class for the game again, or maybe it would just be some really simple shit like extra uniques or set items or something. No one would have been too excited about it, people would have been disappointed, no one would have been very angry. And I think the thing that people were fearing the most is they were just going to get up there and talk about Diablo on the Switch for the 500 millionth time. It's cool that the game's going to be out on consoles, I'm sure it's great, but just please shut up about it. We've all heard it, we've heard it over and over, that just wouldn't be considered news. But what we got instead of any of that, was Diablo Immortal, a Diablo mobile title. Based on the initial reactions, having no news at this panel would have been better than announcing this game. It has been an absolute shit show. The trailer and gameplay footage on YouTube are being downvoted to hell. Blizzard even removed the videos and re-uploaded them to try and reset the counters after that initial rage subsided. No dice, they're still just being scorched. Blizzard is frantically removing negative comments and videos about Diablo Immortal. They just clearly were not prepared for this sort of response. They're even getting booed at their own conference.
The current plan is to be on mobile, both Android and iOS. We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC.
And then they make snarky responses like this to the crowd and are just completely missing the point.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
People don't hate mobile games. They hate this mobile game. At best, Diablo Immortal is a sellout product nobody was asking for, except for the Activision overlords. And at worst, it's being accused of being a reskin of existing games like Crusaders of Light. And that's another piece of PR that Blizzard totally hasn't been able to handle. Okay, I wanted Diablo 4 or a D2 remaster as much as anyone, but I want to take a step back and look at the situation a little more objectively. Based on the gameplay footage, I honestly think this looks pretty fun. A fully fledged ARPG on your phone? That's pretty cool. There's new skills and features. Sure, the graphics are toned down based on hardware limitations, but it still looks pretty sharp overall. And it tells a story between Diablo 2 and 3, which is also pretty cool. This isn't just a port, it is a new game, albeit one that borrows very heavily from Diablo 3 and apparently other existing mobile titles. But there's enough to it that it might still be worth checking out. But it is pretty crappy that it's only on mobile, especially when the games that it's clearly based off of are on mobile and PC. So, even though trying to look at this through that more optimistic lens, Blizzard still fucked this up hard. This was the worst possible time to announce this, and the PR behind this is on the level of Battlefront 2. This panel kind of showed fans what a total lack of awareness Blizzard currently has. They stopped being the badass, do-no-wrong homegrown devs and kind of became the corporate bastard we all feared they would become. A mobile game is a tie-in, a sprinkle on the top. It's not the main course. Anybody craving a full meal was obviously going to be pissed off by making this the main event. Announce it anywhere other than BlizzCon, at any other time, with no fanfare, and let people digest the idea of it slowly. If people were expecting nothing and got this as a gift, people would probably be more receptive. Instead, Blizzard put it front and center when people were the most eager they've ever been for Diablo 4, lowered expectations or not, and they threw this shit sandwich in the middle of a pack of wolves. There you go, you happy, you fucking animals? It was just blind stupidity from Blizzard. It's shocking that they couldn't anticipate this backlash, but now that it's happening, their inability to cope or respond with concrete answers is just baffling. Really, if all you did this year was talk about Diablo Netflix, some plot details, a bit of concept art, maybe a title, there wouldn't really be anything to tear apart. People may be disappointed, but there wouldn't be this feeling of a bait and switch that led to the current rage and outcries and fans jumping down your throat. You ever hear people say learn to read a room? Apparently Blizzard can't read their audience and appreciate the expectations that are on hand. I know it makes fans seem so spoiled and ungrateful, but it's unbelievable that Blizzard couldn't appreciate that we're currently at the apex of Diablo 4 hype. It's the first time since Diablo 3 came out that it was a real possibility you guys were going to announce this. Really, people will probably never get their hopes up again, despite the fact that we know the game is eventually coming. But this is it. This was the peak. And apparently that peak was so high that it was completely over their heads. One of the worst parts of this as a fan is I bet you they can't announce Diablo 4 for at least a year after Immortal comes out. First, they need to let the negative press die down. If they announce Diablo 4 a week from now, everyone would say, why the fuck didn't you announce it sooner? What was the point of cramming Immortal down our throats? Which is the more important point of why they have to delay announcing Diablo 4, is that nobody is going to download and play this game if they're a short wait away from the game they actually wanted. Blizzard boxed themselves in. They're committed to promoting and supporting a game that everyone currently hates. Again, I personally believe this game could be fun. They announced it at the wrong time and delivered it like a spit in the face. All of this is based on the idea that the game is going to happen and was going to happen no matter what. But as others have pointed out, we're talking about a company that would cancel games like StarCraft Ghost and Titan that they had sunk years into, simply stating it wasn't up to the company's quality and they would rather scrap it than release it. Now all of a sudden Blizzard is outsourcing projects, reskinning existing games, putting something out that clearly doesn't have the thought, soul, or creativity of the existing Diablo series. Will I try the game? Yes. Should it have ever been made? No. I'm sorry, Blizzard, you guys kind of made your own grave here. You're gonna have to lie in it. All the deleting of negative comments isn't gonna save you from this one. All that being said, what do you guys think about Diablo Immortal? It's... I feel stupid asking that, because I think I know what the majority of people's responses are gonna be. But take into consideration everything I said, do you think the game actually has a shred of a chance of being fun? Is it something you're going to even give a chance to begin with? If it's a free title, will you download it and play it? And has this permanently tarnished your opinion of Diablo? Do you think there's hope for Diablo 4 when they go and pull something like this? I think those are some of the bigger questions rather than just, are you mad about this? I'd love to talk to you guys about it. Let me know in the comments down below. In the end cards here, I'll have a link to my Diablo 1 playthrough. I just had an itch to come back to it. It's been a ton of fun for me. I hope you guys would enjoy watching that as well. Feel free to check that out. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon.